So in this article, we're going to talk about how Priti Patel has mourned the loss of a Windrush campaigner, and Priti Patel talking about how this person here, Paulette Wilson, fought against the injustices and the hostile environment that her government, well, not her government specifically, kind of her government, the May government and the Cameron government actually created. So this is quite interesting. Priti Patel, sitting MP, so at the time failed to call these things out, but now she wants to mourn the loss of someone who did so. Paulette Wilson, a prominent Windrush campaigner who was wrongly detained and threatened with deportation by the Home Office, has died unexpectedly at the age of 64, so she is quite young still. A month after delivering a petition to Downing Street calling on the government to deliver justice to those affected by the scandal. And so the Windrush compensation has been very slow. Windrush is people that came through from a certain time, I believe, from the Caribbean and other places that weren't given proper documentation when they came here. And so when the Home Office tried to reduce the immigration numbers, they couldn't actually reduce people coming in. They struggled to do that. So what they did was they tried to kick people out to make the net figure look low. And so these were the unfortunate victims of this. So Wilson moved from Jamaica, aged about 10, from 1968 to join her grandparents. She went to primary school and secondary school in Britain, worked as a chef for most of her life, for a while in the House of Commons restaurant. She had travelled to the UK legally, but in 2016 she had received a letter informing her that she was an immigration offender and needed to take immediate steps to return to Jamaica, a country she had not visited in half a century. And so what the stupidity of this whole situation is the fact that she went to school here. Like she can tangibly prove, or if she had the documents, she could tangibly prove that she grew up here. But the problem was because they weren't giving documentation, and the Home Office took an extremely aggressive stance in deporting people to get those numbers, to get that net figure lower. These people were the unfortunate victims of the Windrush scandal, and so she was arrested twice, spent time in immigration removal centre before being transferred to another centre in Heathrow in 2017 ahead of a flight to Kingston. It was only a last-minute intervention by her MP Emma Reynolds and the Refugee and Migrant Centre in Wolverhampton that prevented her deportation. So she's incredibly close to being deported. Wilson's decision to speak to The Guardian in 2017 about her wrongful arrest and detention encouraged dozens of people to come forward and describe how they had also found themselves wrongfully classified as immigration offenders. Many had suffered catastrophic consequences as a result of the Home Office's mistake. Some were detained, some were denied healthcare, and that was a big thing as well, because I think you had people who had terminal illnesses denied healthcare because they were deemed as not being from the UK, which is such a stupid thing to do. And others were sacked from their jobs and evicted from their homes because they were told that you can't prove that you're a UK citizen, therefore it's illegal for you to work. They were denied things like housing benefits, and also, if you lose your job, you're going to lose your house. And so, they still haven't gotten proper compensation for this. As they became wrongly caught up in the hostile environment immigration policy brought under Theresa May. About 164 were mistakenly detained and removed from the UK. When the scandal broke in 2018, it provoked a resignation from the Home Secretary, Amber Rudd, and the government were forced to apologise. Wilson later said she had been put through the worst heartache anyone could go through, and, she's right. Being deported from a country that you grew up in for no reason. A country that you went to school here, you worked here, you built your life here. How, this government, how could this government try and deport these people when they could tangibly find out that these people actually grew up here? It's so stupid. She and her daughter dedicated much of the past 2.5 years to raising awareness of the difficulties experienced by thousands of people who had arrived in the UK in the 50s and 60s, wrongly being categorised as immigration offenders. When she visited Downing Street last month to deliver a petition calling for compensation to be speeded up, she was disappointed that she was still having to campaign for justice. She had hoped 2 years ago that there would be swifter resolution and everyone's difficulties and faster payment of compensation to all the victims. The word sorry can roll off anyone's tongue easily, but we don't want any more apologies, she said. And that's right, it's easy to say I'm sorry, but it's harder to show you're sorry. It's hard to actually compensate people for the problems that you had caused them. And the government have failed to do that. Paulette is survived by her daughter and granddaughter. She was widely loved and respected. Her laugh was infectious, and she loved to see people smile. She will be missed, by all, Barnes said. The Windrush campaigner Patrick Vernon said he was in deep shock. She was a campaigner like many others fighting for justice. there's growing evidence that the impact of the Windrush scandal on hostile environments is having a major impact on the mental health and well-being of survivors. We now need to campaign and end the hostile environment, and for the compensation managed independently from the Home Office. Absolutely correct. Like the Home Office are doing an absolute crap job of dealing with things, and this is the worst. This is one of the bad things. Not the worst thing, because obviously the worst thing is being deported from a country that you grew up in for no reason, and having your life uprooted for absolutely no reason. Priti Patel, deeply saddened by the passing of Paulette Wilson, who dedicated the last few years to highlight the terrible injustices faced by the Windrush generation. Together we must continue her mission to right the wrongs. This is a person who's still pushing the hostile environment, Priti Patel, who is in charge of the Home Office. What annoys me the most about Conservative MPs isn't just the damage that they do, but it's they're like, the past injustices these people faced. That was you. You were an MP at the time. You could have done something. You chose not to. These guys are like, we need to fix the problems of the past. It's like, you've been in charge for like 10 years. Why haven't you done anything? And so James Felton, the comedian, pointing out there, if only it was within your power to end the hostile environment. And it's just like such a head scratcher, because if you wanted to do something, you could do something. But you proved Paulette's point that it's easy to say sorry, and it's easy to say you're sad that something has happened, but you guys don't do anything about it. That's the problem. So yeah, screw you, Priti Patel. You're so frustrating to deal with. You can't even read numbers off a page properly. And so rest in peace, Paulette Wilson. There's not much more to be said here. But yeah, the Windrush scandal is still, it's still a big problem. These people still haven't been compensated properly. The Home Office are doing an absolute rubbish job. Whether that's done on purpose or whether they're just being misers, I don't know. All I know is I hope that they get compensation soon. And I hope that people finally acknowledge that the damage this stuff has caused. Because I can't imagine what it's like to, suddenly be told you're an illegal immigrant and, you're going to be deported and you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your house. Everything you've worked for is going to be taken away because someone at the Home Office decided that, do you know what, these net immigration figures are really bad. So what we're going to do is, instead of stopping people coming in, we're going to kick them out. And so look, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.